Let's talk tension. Now, if everything is threaded correctly, including all guides down in the serger, the thread is flowing through them, not wrapped around or twisted or caught underneath, like even this little part right down here, sometimes the thread will get underneath this little kind of nub here, which obviously it's not supposed to be, but make sure no thread is being caught because that can kind of pull a little bit more on the fabric as we go. But what I'm going to do is just kind of change some tensions and let you kind of see what happens when we, for example, let's just take the red thread, the lower looper, and make it tight. And let's go ahead and see what it looks like when we do just that. So if we made the lower looper tighter, do you think the threads would pull around to the back side a little bit? All right, so we see the blue thread. But now look, we see some of the blue thread being pulled over. The red thread is so tight, it's rolling it to the back. And it does one other thing. Do you see these little orange loops that have been pulled up? That's because it's pulling our needle thread actually. And now it's going to give us a more, see that stitch in there? It actually is opening up our seam. So once again, just make sure that that is, not pulling too tight. What if we were to tighten our upper looper? And this would be where, instead of what we just did where it pulled it to the back side, now our blue thread is going to be stronger and might pull our red thread up to the top. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it. I see more red thread up here at the top. Now, when you have threads that are all the same, they all match with like all white, it's really hard to sometimes see which thread needs to be fixed or which one is the problem thread. So by doing this first with different colors of thread and working through these videos, this should help you identify some of the different areas of where each thread is going. And then when you switch to matching thread, you can kind of see it a little better. Well, obviously by turning our blue thread up to 7, we get it pulled all the way up to the front. And also, too, our tension on that back part is not looking good. So what is good tension on that needle thread? Let me show you. You need to have a very, very straight line. That's what I'm looking for good balanced tension on our needle threads, okay? So then they don't open up. So I'm going to put that one back to normal. And again, if I went looser, what would happen? Well, now our lower looper is actually tighter because we just loosened our top. So we would have gotten, once again, kind of that first example where the red thread would pull to the back side there. So we'll just put that back. And you can do this. And by the way, it's okay to turn your tensions. I know sometimes when we have children around, we tell them, don't touch anything. But guess what? If they touch your serger, all you have to do is just put the dials back to 4 and then start from scratch. They're not going to hurt anything. Let me show you what happens if the needle threads are super loose. I've just taken the yellow one, or what I have for orange today, and made it really light. So smaller number is always looser. And here's the thing, the front is always going to look the best, but what happens when we turn it over? Now we see that thread is one gigantic loop and it pulls open when we open it. So not good at all. And so tighten that back up. But a lot of times that's the look that you get. And the tension is normal. And people start to tightening it. Tighter and tighter, and it never fixes it. And you know why? It's because the thread never got deep into the tension disc when it was threaded. Or it was, and now it has kind of come out of those two discs. The discs and tensions close on the thread, but if the thread isn't deep enough in there, it can't stay in there, and then it comes out. So what I want you to do, if you have any crazy looking threads, you can look right down into each of these grooves. And if for some reason you actually see your color of thread looking back at you, you know that it's not in the tension. So just take the thread kind of top and bottom. You can almost floss it back in. Lift up the presser foot. That opens the tensions. You can get it in there easier, nice and deep. Then when you go to sew again and you lower that presser foot down, the tensions will close on that thread and you'll be back to a normal setting. So let's just do one more row through here. and we have a good looking stitch. Loopers are matching right along the edge here. The straight line on the back of our needle, and the little tiny, it's hard to see, but there's little dots on the back of your overlock stitch, and that's indicating a nice, firm, perfect stitch for seaming together most of your projects that you're going to be doing. So your 4-thread overlock is an awesome one. Set all at 4 tensions, and most of the time you're ready to go. But remember, it's not always tension you need to adjust. Look for the path. Make sure nobody's wrapped around anybody, and then also make sure your thread is all the way in the tension disc. Those are probably the most common things or issues people run into, and they never know how to fix it. So hopefully this helps, and when in doubt, just clip all your threads and rethread your serger from scratch, and that also will fix most problems that might be occurring that you can't figure out.